Hi, my name is Simon. In this video, I will be presenting my paper forecasting the safety premium. So, what is the safety premium? It is the value investors are willing to pay to obtain an asset that is perfectly free of risk. Like any other asset, the market for safe assets has a demand and a supply side. This demand side is very stable. The supply side, on the other hand, it consists of all these assets like treasury bonds, corporate AAA debt, but also product shadow banks make like mortgage-backed securities or repurchase agreements. So how do I define the safety premium? I define it as the difference between BEA and AAA rated corporate bonds. And why is this a good measure? That is because if you compare BEA rated bonds to another asset that's also free of any risk, like treasury debt, there's going to be these effects like liquidity that's different, for which the investors also are willing to pay a liquidity premium. So these BEA and AAA rated corporate bonds are similar in every way except for their risk position. The first category of models I use only takes into account the past observations of the spread between the BEA and AAA rated corporate bonds. These are summarized in the picture above. So we observe that none of these methods come even close to predicting right what happened in the financial crisis. In fact, they all predict the safety premium to go down, since the last observation was relatively high compared to the perpetual mean. So there's these other forecasting methods I use, and the trick with these ones is to take as many explanatory variables as you can, and then figure out a way to not overfit the model such that the out of sample forecasts are also good, and that is not just a perfect prediction for the in sample periods. So here's the model as given that I use for the factor model. This is all pretty standard. Important is to note that I take 6 legs of the y variable. I take 5 factors, and I don't take the legs of the factors, but I take the legs of the explanatory variables. So Peak and Kapai 2019 said that that would work better for direct forecasts. Furthermore, I also do ridge regression and lasso regression, which the equations are also given here. And finally, I do a random subset regression where I do 1,000 random subsets of five explanatory variables of the 103 explanatory variables that are still in my dataset. Okay, so the pictures below give the forecast, and what we see in panel 1 is that the orange line is the factor model. So that's the only model that actually predicts that the safety premium goes up before 2010. So that is basically, it has the right idea. But, well, we see the lasso and ridge regression, the blue and pink line in panel B. And we see that these regressions also had the idea of, well, it is probably going up, but they timed it completely wrong. Finally, we also have the subset regression, which is the yellow line. And this one performs also quite poorly because it's just, it mimics the perpetual mean with a little bit of noise. And that's probably because there's a lot of explanatory variables that do not have any explanatory power over the safety premium. Well, none of these methods predicted the high safety premium of 2008 and 2009. There's only the factor model, which predicted a rise in the safety premium. And this leaves us to the question, was the bubble burst, the housing bubble, was it even predictable? And were the effects on the safety premium predictable? And that depends a bit on what happened to the safety premium. So if it was like a panic run on the complicated safe assets, so like the mortgage-backed securities, which were in fact still safe, but people didn't trust them anymore, then in fact this would have been very hard to predict, because then you have this bank run equilibrium, which is just like a coordination problem and not something based on real economic factors. Or maybe there were some other direct underlying causes, like these mortgages, which were the collateral for these products. They didn't seem as safe as they were promised. So maybe it was that what caused it.